welcome everyone to day 3 of Healing Toxic Relationships. I'm Na'Im Najieb, and we're here with HT, Celia, D, Michaela, Shannon Joy, and our caller calling in. Welcome everyone. Thank you for sharing your Sunday with me.
Thank you for offering this space and this course. So thanks everybody too.
You're welcome. So last time we went over abuse and victimhood, the 5 levels of creation, what's the critical question. We went through 5 facts of love and fear, and the homework was pretty much to review the lessons on love and such. Anyone have anything they want to share or report before we continue into today's lesson?
I do like the setup on the website in terms of the lessons that you do have set up there, and the videos to go over. So I thought that was a nice touch.
Thank you. Just did that today. And for those who are just joining, who haven't joined before, or the refresher, is that this is a course where pretty much just being in the space and hearing the conversation and the material and going through it, whether you read or speak or not, it's okay either way. We're just, it's here for us all to have our own self-reflection on it and to see how it can help us in our own lives. So there's no requirements in terms of you have to participate in any particular way. It's just when there's work to be done for yourself, then that you do that. So we're in part 3, which we're talking about solutions, finally, right? So purification. In this final part, we'll learn solutions for how to actively heal toxic relationships, as well as how to prevent your current relationships from becoming toxic. So what lessons will you learn? It's about standards and boundaries, knowing the difference, setting clear standards for yourself, setting clear boundaries for your relationships, clearly communicating your boundaries, loving correction, enforcing boundaries, how to do that, taking full responsibility, self-empowerment mantra, healthy communication 101. Those things we won't get into today, but we will get into as much as we can. So, are we ready?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, so lesson 10, Michaela, will you read this?
Lesson number 10, standards and boundaries. There's a difference. In order to heal your relationships, you must have standards and boundaries in place. Aren't they the same thing? You may ask. No, they are not exactly the same. You've probably heard this said in some way. You have to set healthy boundaries in your relationship. This is true. And there is something that comes before that. What comes first? Standards, personal standards, which lead us to this question. What is the difference between standards and boundaries? Quite simply.
Yeah, I'll read the boundary side.
Okay, standards. Standards are personal.
Boundaries are interpersonal, social.
Standards are about how you treat yourself.
Boundaries are about how you allow others to treat you.
Your standards have to do with your relationship with yourself.
Your boundaries have to do with your relationship with others, your relationships with others.
Standards are the rules by which you conduct yourself.
Boundaries are the rules by which you conduct yourself in relationships.
Only you can violate your standards. You cannot violate someone's standards.
Others can violate your standards. You can violate others' standards. Clear?
You mean boundaries?
Yeah.
Thank you. I think y'all know by now I'm a writer, not a reader. I do my best, but it's not 100% by any stretch of the imagination, so thank you. I'll continue on this page, and if you would read after me, Celia. So let's build a model to make this even more clear. How about a business model? For example, let's use a retail store business. Business has 2 sets of rules. Internal rules, which are standards, company policy, employee code of conduct, and guidelines for the staff. So that's like the work shifts, the pay, benefits, all of that. Then you got the operational rules, the boundaries, the code of conduct for the customers, hours of operation, hold on a second, what page is this? 41. I gotta make that hours of operation. Price of products, return policy, penalty for fraud, theft, etc. Your standards are like your personal private policy. They don't have to do with anyone else. When you go out to eat, you aren't concerned with the chef's salary, only that the food is good. The restaurant owner isn't concerned with how much money you make at work, only that you pay your bill. Because there are repercussions for walking out without paying, breaking the boundaries of the establishment. What are some examples of standards and boundaries? Let's check out the clarity chart on the next page.
Yes, I can read.
Okay, can you read this with Celia? Can you read the personal side, and Celia, can you take the relationship side?
All right. So your clarity chart examples for personal standards and relationship boundaries. So your personal standards are private personal policy.
And relationship boundaries, relationship code of conduct.
Physical standards and boundaries. I will not abuse my body.
I will not allow anyone to abuse my body, physically attack me.
And the personal is I will attend to my personal hygiene every day.
The relationship is I will not remain in the presence of someone who has bad hygiene.
You'll go, Celia.
The emotional, mental, verbal standards and boundaries.
I will take full responsibility for my feelings at all times.
Relationship, I will not allow anyone to project their fear-based feelings onto me.
Okay, in your personal, then I will appreciate myself as often as I can remember to.
And relationship, I'll read the whole thing. I will not stand for verbal attack or abuse from anyone. I choose to receive only appreciation, not attack or judgment.
Oh, I missed the other one. That means I will not
Okay.
engage in negative self-talk for my
Okay.
personal boundary, or my personal standard. Okay, so financial standards and boundaries are I will take full responsibility for my finances at all times. I will not voluntarily give money when I really don't want to.
And relationship boundaries. I will not allow anyone to guilt trip me into giving money when I don't want to give it.
Personal standard, I will not make myself financially dependent or become a financial strain to anyone.
Relationship, I will not allow any other adult to become financially dependent on me.
Clear?
Getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there.
All right. So now that you have some examples of what healthy standards and boundaries look like, let's create and or write down some of yours. And this is activity time.
All right, welcome, Salima. Thank you for joining.
Hey, sorry I'm late. Good to be
Ready,
here.
Salima.
Hey, family.
All right.
Let's do this.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, we were just saying that our new policy and boundaries that anyone who comes late has to give $100 to everybody who's already there.
Hachamaki. I'm gonna have to sell my body tonight.
Lima, I'll accept those in snacks. That's fine.
No, Salima ain't giving up no stacks. She'll give up her body, but she ain't giving us stacks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
Oh,
personal
no.
standard.
Listen here, co-wife, you asking for a whole lot up in here.
Oh, I know it. I know it. I know it.
Yeah, see, her standard is like she'll sell the body, but not the snacks. No,
Not
it's
just snacks.
not giving that up.
Nope.
All
What
right,
page are we on?
Priorities.
we're on page 43, lesson 11. Are you
Oh,
reading?
that's my number, 11.
Oh, right in time, Salima.
Or then you can read it then if you are reading.
Okay, let me put on my glasses and my panties. And
Oh, let me make it.
you me. Woo, this is
Make it
good.
bigger.
I'm ready.
Can you see it?
She ready. 10.
All right.
In. Boy, if you don't know, it's time to make this lesson practical. What do you do here? What you do here will be the launch pad and foundation for creating healthier relationships and clearer communication with the peoples in your life. You are becoming clear about what your personal standards are and about what your relationship boundaries are. The following pages are for you to fill in, discuss, think about for yourself. How about keep it secret? No, simply answer the prompt question and fill in as many answers as you think of. Feel free to return to these pages and add more as you are inspired to. All right, workbook note. If you are wondering if you needed a separate notebook to take notes, you don't. This course book is a workbook and a notebook. In the back of this workbook, there are blank pages for blank clarity chart template for you to use as well. Everything you need is provided. Check it out. Activity time. Pins out. All right.
So for this one, we'll just we'll verbally share if you
Sure.
we want to. So this is and when you have the book, which you can get on Amazon for like $8, is just for you to fill in for yourself about personal standards and relationship boundaries. And then there's a few clarity charts. So this one is about finances. The next one is about mental, emotional, verbal boundaries and standards. The next one is physical space and privacy. The next one is your physical body, health and safety. The next one is cyberspace, and the next one is just general. So we'll go through, we'll read some of these examples of all of these blank ones, and then we'll just go around and see if anyone wants to give an example of what theirs could be. So I will read the standard side. Thank you. Is anyone here willing to read the boundary side?
I don't mind
Oh.
reading the boundary side.
Okay, D. So I will read this side. So we're talking about finances, and this is for us to think about for ourselves. And these are examples. So what are my standards and boundaries around finances? So the prompt question for your standards are, how do I take responsibility for my finances personally? For example, I take full responsibility for my finances. I will not become a financial burden to anyone.
And then on the boundary side, the prompt question is, what am I not okay with financially in relationships? Example, I'm not okay with lending money to people. I will either give money freely or not at all. If I choose to give, it will be an amount I'm totally okay with not receiving back.
Okay, great. So you and me, D, gonna take it all the way. So now we're going into emotional, mental, and verbal. So what are my standards and boundaries around emotional, mental, verbal interactions? So the prompt questions for my standards are, how do I choose to take responsibility for my emotions, my thoughts? How do I choose to talk to myself? Example, I will take full responsibility for my feelings, my thoughts, and my words.
And the boundary side, the prompt question is, what kind of expression or treatment am I not okay with in a relationship? Emotional, mental, or verbal expressions and treatment. Example is, I'm not okay with someone guilt tripping me, being deceptive or manipulative, or verbally attacking me ever.
Okay, then we have physical space and privacy. So what are my standards and boundaries around that? So the prompt questions for my standards, how do I choose to take care of my physical space? What information, things, and parts of my life are public, which parts are private? So an example would be, I will make up my bed every morning. I'll not go to bed with dishes in the sink. I will not post pictures of myself when I visit the nude beach.
And on the boundary side, the questions are, what rules do I have about how others treat my physical space, home, vehicle, workplace, etc.?
What things, aspects about our relationship are public? What things, aspects are private? Examples. When guests visit my home, they must remove their shoes. If they use something, they must put it back where they found it. If I do not want to share the passcode to my phone/computer, or not if, I don't want to share the password or code to my phone or computer.
But I shared mine with you, D. How come you don't want to share? Come
That's
on.
business. That's your standard and boundary.
Good. Yeah, I'm giving you applause on that. Good, because
Thank you.
that's what the response usually is. It's like I'm already showing you my phone. I'm not telling you that that's the trap phone. I mean, that's the that's not the other phone, but that's the phone you can look at. So how come you don't let me look at your phone? You know, that sort of thing. But all right. So now physical body health and safety. What are the standards and boundaries around that? So prompt questions for standards. How do I choose to take care of my physical body? How do I choose to take care of my health, diet, exercise? How do I choose to keep myself safe? Examples, I'll work out 4 days a week, drink a gallon of water a day. I'll not text and drive.
And for boundaries, the prompt questions are, what physical treatment am I not okay with? What situation, circumstance, and behaviors do I not feel safe around? And the examples are, I will not accept physical attack or abuse in any form. I do not feel safe when someone drinks heavily and forgets what happened, preach, / what they did or said. That one hit a little home.
Well, if you need to get out your fan and go on mute for a little while, I understand. But
I'm good though.
all right, good. We got one more, I think. No, two more. All right, digital and cyberspace. And it goes without saying that this would be homework, everybody, for your own private time and space to fill it out for yourself. And right now, we're just going through it for the familiarization of the difference between standards and boundaries. So now we're talking about digital devices, internet, social media. What are the standards and boundaries around that? So prompt questions. What kind of relationship do I want to have with my devices, phone, computer, tablet? How do I engage or want to engage in the digital realm? Examples, I'll not touch a device an hour before bed and an hour after waking up. I'll check social media only when I have something to post. I'll memorize phone numbers for my emergency contacts and the people I call most frequently.
And for boundaries, it is, what kind of digital interaction am I not okay with? What am I not comfortable with regarding devices in cyberspace? Examples, I'm not okay with having my location tracked. I will not allow anyone to control who I can and cannot connect with via phone, social media, or in person. I'm not okay being posted on anyone's social media without my informed consent.
All right.
And we got the general one. So what's general standards and boundaries? Example for standards, I'll not pressure myself and make things okay either way.
And for boundaries is, what are my general boundaries again? I will not allow anyone to cut me off when I'm speaking. That piece.
So, got it. We'll revisit this activity. You are a new and different person every day. Add and change things as you grow, evolve, and learn about yourself. Before we continue, we talked about a lot of different things here. If anyone who's willing to share could share at least one standard and or boundary from any of these sections or whatever may come to mind, I'll start and say, let's see, what is this one? Mental, emotion, verbal. All right. For my personal standard is actually, yeah, I will take responsibility for my feelings. I won't speak or act from a state of inflamed, fearful feelings. So if I'm feeling hot and heated and upset, especially if it's specifically targeted at a person, I'm not going to address them from that state. I'll wait until I can not feel that way or be so in my own feelings about it before I do. Boundary with that, if I can tell someone's actually attacking me or verbally or whatever, and they think I got to sit around listen to it or trying to guilt trip me or whatever it is, I'll cut that off. I'll literally say, all right, stop. I'm not going to continue listening to this. I only want to be appreciated. I'll hang up the phone. I'll walk away. Things like that. I'm not going to tell them, you better not talk to me. Like they can do what they want. I'm just going to let them know, if you continue on this, line of, of talk or treatment, I'm not going to be here for it. I'm going to dismiss myself. So a couple of mine. Anybody else want to share anything?
I'll share one. For finances, I will not purchase items or services that I cannot afford or give me anxiety about money. I will not allow people to guilt me into purchasing goods and services that will cause me financial strain.
That's a good one.
But Michaela, I told you for my birthday, I wanted that private plane booked to get to the private yacht, to go to the private island. What happened?
I can't afford that, sir.
But it's my birthday though. Thank you. Those were good standards and boundaries.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
I'll do one with the emotional one. So I will take full responsibility for my emotions, thoughts, and words. And for the other one, for the relationship, I will not take any responsibility for anyone in relationship with me who are in their feelings, thoughts, and words. That's on them.
Amen, Celia.
Amen. Anyone else?
The cyber one I like, in terms of that, is that when you go to visit another person and then they're on their phone all the time.
Yes.
So it's like, how do you say that? If I'm invited as a visitor to visit you, then the point is to have that human interaction going on, as opposed to I'm there and you over there and everybody's on their phone.
Right. I'm gonna get up, commute, get dressed. You know how hard it is figuring out how to get dressed after a year of not having to do it. Do all of that and then come over for you to be on your phone the whole time. Yeah, I feel you. So
That's a good one, HT. I like that. It's like, a standard is I want to be in the present moment with people I'm in relationship with.
All right.
And then relationship, if you are otherwise occupied, you're free to do so, and I'm free not to be in your space while you're otherwise occupied.
She tried to verbalize that.
I like to just keep it real simple. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
For all of these, it's like on the left side, it's like I am free, and on the other side, I'm free, you're free. Do what you want to do. That's it.
Right. Do what you want to do. So right. So that don't mean I'm going to sit there. So
Right. Correct. Anyway, that's how I would phrase it, but there are better ways, other ways to say it.
thank you, everybody. And continuing, unless anyone else has anything to share. So now let's talk about the hard stuff. What do you do when someone crosses your boundaries? What happens when someone violates your boundaries? It's time to learn how to communicate your boundaries clearly. Ready to discuss? Let's go. All right. So can you continue, Celia?
Yes. So lesson number 12, communicating boundaries, loving correction. How do you clearly communicate your boundaries in relationships? Before we can talk about communicating boundaries, you have to have boundaries to communicate. Point. Which is why the last activity is very, very important. If you didn't do it, please go back and finish before you continue. We shall do our homework. What happens if you don't have clear boundaries defined? You will learn in a very painful way when someone crosses them that you should have set boundaries there, which is why it's important to set them first. And let's be real, People are going to cross your boundaries, period. Whether they are aware they are crossing your boundaries or not. Why? Because that's what human beings, people do. That's why you do it too. So how do you communicate your boundaries clearly? Thank you. We're going to teach you a method called loving correction. Why loving correction? Because of this principle. Loving correction principle. Do not take it personally when someone crosses your boundaries. Use it as a teaching, learning moment.
Thank you, Celia. And Shirtless Enoch, welcome. Can you hear us?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I can hear you. My fault for the tardiness, my brother, but thank you.
That will be $150, and also sponsoring somebody else to take the course for $150. So thank you. All right. So since you're here, can you see the screen and can you read? Can you see this on your phone?
Yes.
All right. So we'll just continue. You can read this this page if you are able to read.
What does this mean? It means boundaries are going to get crossed eventually on both sides. Either because you didn't know what your boundary was until it was violated, or because the other person was simply unaware of your established boundaries. So there's no need to take it personally. Unless someone is intentionally crossing your clearly defined and discussed boundaries, which should make them a jerk. and being in a relationship with a jerk is an attack on yourself. Don't do that to yourself. So what is a loving correction? Loving correction definition. Loving correction is communicating your boundary to someone without attacking them. How do you lovingly correct someone? Lies and clarity, and understanding the difference between someone crossing your boundaries intentionally and unintentionally. Important note on how boundaries get crossed. The majority of time, people will cross your boundaries in an unintentional and stubborn way, meaning they did not mean it maliciously. Right, thank you. But it will still have an abusive effect on your relationship.
Because if they meant it meticulously, that's like saying, oh, well, I don't want you. I have 100 pairs of sneakers. You can borrow all 99 except those red ones over there. Then they're like, really now? And then they go through all of your stuff and take the red ones. That's a meticulous violation. That's a jerk. Thank you very much.
Right.
All right, go ahead.
This is what loving correction is for. Making people aware of the stubborn or unintentional violations of your boundaries. The examples we will give will focus on stubborn abuse and stubborn violations of your boundaries. Remember this, allowing someone to continuously violate your boundaries, even stubbornly, is a form of abuse against yourself. What about if someone violates my boundaries unintentionally by being obviously abusive or directly attacking me?
Intentionally.
Right, eventually, my apologies. If someone directly attacks or abuses you, it's time to enforce your boundary by not putting up with that behavior anymore. We will cover more on that later. Right now, let's look at some examples of boundaries getting crossed and loving correction and his approaches to it. Take a look at the example clarity chart on the next page.
All right, so if you would stay on, Enoch, and read with Michaela, I'm going to meticulously single you out to read more than anyone else, just so everybody is clear. And if Michaela, you could read your resources boundary on the left, and Enoch, could you read a possible violation on the right, and you can just both alternate with the middle loving correction side in the middle.
Copy that.
Your resources boundary. When someone borrows your vehicle, they must replace the gas they used or give you gas money to replace it yourself.
Someone uses your car and brings it back with an empty tank, They don't mention, Na'Im, could you scroll down just a little bit, bro? Scroll down. Okay. Someone uses your car and brings it back with an empty tank and they don't mention it to you. You find out when you get in your car to go somewhere.
Loving correction. Tell them clearly and outright, when I let you use my car, please bring it back with the full tank. If you don't fill the tank, leave gas money in the glove compartment or send the money to my account digitally. You can relay this message via phone call, text, or in person. Just do it as soon as possible. Your financial boundary. You are running a business and you have established prices for your goods and services.
Someone you know asks for this distinctive or a freebie because they know you. You don't want to give it to them. Loving correction. Let them know in your own words, I'm running a business. That's the price. If they don't want to pay full price, treat them like you would treat any other non-paying customer, and don't do business with them if it becomes an issue. Advice on discounts to loved ones.
This is good, everybody. Listen up.
If you choose to give someone you don't know a discount or a freebie, here's how you can communicate your generosity to them in a more effective way. 1, either charge them the full price. 2, receive their money for their goods or services. 3, give them goods or services. 4, give them a full or partial refund for the money that on the spot. 5, tell them this is a gift from me to you. That process has a stronger effect on the psyche than just giving someone for free at discount. Try it.
Thank you. And Enoch, you stay on. HT, can you come on and read the space boundary side?
Okay, your space boundary. You want your clean space to be cleaned after other people use it.
This is me now?
Yep.
All right. Someone leaves a mess, dirt, trash in your space, and they don't clean it up. Loving correction. Let them know how to treat your space if they want to be invited back to use it. When you use something, put it back. When you make a mess, clean it up. Don't leave dishes in the sink. Make your message specific to your space and your boundaries. Provide them with clear corrections, not complaints.
Your time boundary. You strive to be early or on time to your appointment and would like those you are meeting with to do the same.
Someone constantly comes late to your appointments, or they don't come at all. They don't inform you that they've been late or absent. Loving correction. Tell them in your own words, I value my time and I value our time together. You can set your own rules around how much time you're willing to wait for someone.
You skipped real quick. Just back up here because I scrolled down.
Oh,
Yeah.
got you. My fault. If something changes and you know you're going to be late or not able to make it, please let me know as soon as possible. I will do the same if something changes on my end. I will not continue to wait for you past so-and-so time. You can set your own rules around how much time they're willing to wait for someone. Just let them know. And if the time you're willing to wait changes, let them know the change.
All right, so your privacy boundary. Confidential information and problems stay private.
Possible violation. Someone shares your private information without your consent.
Loving correction. Let them know your boundary in your own words. Don't share what I tell you in confidence with anyone. It's between us. You may want to consider not sharing personal information with someone who won't respect your privacy.
Thank you. Enoch, you can come off for maybe 1 page or half a page. I'm going to come on. HT, will you stay on and continue reading that side? I'll read the violation side.
Okay, you're holding space boundary. You don't want to be complained to emotionally dumped on, or vented to without your consent. You want to be asked to hold compassionate space for someone who wants to vent or talk about things that are emotionally heavy.
Frequent emotion, a violation is and I corrected that in the new one. A possible violation is frequent emotional drive-bys. Your conversation interaction with a person, a particular person usually turn into venting sessions or a therapy session. They expect you to listen to their problems and give them your full attention, which drains you. So you can explain your boundary. Oh, this needs loving correction up here. You can explain your boundary and teach them. Actually, can you read that while I make a note, please, HT?
Okay, so the loving correction would be to,
I don't know if you're still reading, but we can't hear you, HT. All right, which means Enoch, please come in and read the middle part about explain your boundary.
Explain your boundary and teach them how to ask you to hold space for them in your own words. When you vent and complain to me, I don't always want to hear it. I don't always have the energetic capacity or the energetic capital or capacity to hold space for you. It affects me negatively. I'd appreciate it from now on if you would just, if you would want me to listen and hold space for you. That if that is what you ask me first, you can just say, hey, I got something on my mind I want to talk to you about. Are you listening? Are you willing to listen? Clear?
Yes. Speaking of which, there's a good YouTube video out there called The 5 Keys to Effective Communication that Enoch and I produced last year or so that y'all should check out.
Yep.
All right.
that's a good website.
I guess I'll put it on the website. Yeah, but it's on YouTube. It's on Enoch's page. So yeah, I'll link it into the website, the healingtoxicrelationships.com, so you can check it out.
Okay.
So are you we hear you now, HT.
Okay. So you talk about the social boundaries. When you
Yes.
socialize with people, you give your full attention and you would like their full attention.
Sounds like we were talking about a possible violation. You're with someone who is constantly distracted and not fully present with you. They scroll through their phone and hardly engage you.
Loving correction. You can easily tell them, excuse me, I would appreciate it if I could have your full attention when we are together. If you're preoccupied right now, I would prefer we connect in person when you are totally free. You can also dismiss yourself from that scenario if you no longer want to be there.
Sounds like what we deduced. I think Sherlock Celia said something of that kind earlier.
Yes.
So, yes.
Your work boundary. You want visitors to announce themselves before they show up to your home or workplace.
Possible violation. Someone shows up unannounced to your home or workplace expecting an audience with you. Explain your boundary to them and tell them how to engage with you at home or at work. You could say, do not show up unannounced to my home or workplace. Contact me ahead of time so we can set something up. I won't answer the door or welcome you if you show up unannounced. Clear?
Yeah.
All right. So Jamila just joined. Let me see if she's connected yet. Not yet. But in the meantime, Michaela, will you continue this page?
Sure. More notes on loving correction. It's important when you are providing loving correction for someone when they violate your boundary, that you provide them with a clear correction for their violation, not just a complaint. Saying you're always leaving the dishes in the sink is different than saying, please do not leave the dishes in the sink. When you use a dish, wash it. One is a complaint, the other is a loving correction and instruction. Was that clear?
Yes.
Let's get even more clear around this idea of loving correction. Question: who is the loving correction for? It is for the other person, sure, but it's for you. It's a way of loving yourself first by clearly communicating your boundaries to others without attacking them. And this way, whoever you are communicating with is aware of your boundaries, and they can choose to respect your boundaries by correcting themselves when relating to you in a certain way. You may ask, what if someone doesn't respect my boundaries? What if they don't want to correct themselves around me? What do I do? These are great questions. That brings us to our last lesson, enforcing boundaries. Ready? Here we go.
All right. Thank you, Michaela.
You're welcome.
Jamila, welcome. Thanks for joining. And she jumped off. I guess I violated her boundary by saying hello. Well, thanks for joining. Anyway. Celia, will you continue this one, please?
That was funny. Lesson number 13, enforcing boundaries. It's your job. How do I protect myself from being taken advantage of? What do I do when my boundaries aren't being respected? Let's ask this question. Whose responsibility is it to enforce your boundaries? Someone else's? No, it's yours. Your boundaries, your responsibility. Just like a country protecting its borders, it is your responsibility to ensure your boundaries or borders are protected. And who must enforce their protection? You. So why are we only talking about violating your boundaries? Why aren't we covering violating your standards? Because there's only one person in the world who can violate your standards. That's you, which means you would be violating yourself. When it comes to violating your boundaries, anyone can do that. And here's the twist. If you don't enforce your boundaries, the result still comes back to you violating yourself. How? Because if you don't check or correct someone who oversteps your boundaries, what do you think will happen? They will cross your boundaries again and again and again. So true.
Thank you. Before we continue, or actually, please continue up to what not to do, Celia.
Okay. Unless and until you do something about it. So sorry, that was the continuation of that. So it becomes another case of you using the relationship and other person to violate yourself. Don't do that. Let's repeat what not to do so we don't forget. Continue? I can continue.
Yes, just
all right. What not to do. Don't use relationships and other people to violate yourself. To better understand the importance of enforcing boundaries, let's take a step back and ask this question. Why do you even have boundaries in place? The purpose of boundaries. Your boundaries serve your peace of mind and represent a standard of self-respect in your relationships with other people. Question, why do you enforce your boundaries? Purpose of enforcing boundaries. Enforcing your boundaries is an act of protecting and respecting yourself when someone violates your boundaries. And again, who is responsible for protecting and enforcing your boundaries? You are. Here's an important reality for you to take note of, the reality of enforcing boundaries. It may not always be emotionally comfortable to enforce your boundaries, but it is absolutely necessary. Why is that?
okay. We can pause for a moment here. Thank you, Celia. Before we continue, is everyone clear up to this point? Any questions, comments, insights before we continue?
This
Very
is super
clear.
helpful and clear, and like just listening through some of it, I'm like, damn, look at all these boundaries I have people cross all the time. It's crazy.
Yes. Yes, you are not alone in that, D. Thanks for saying that. That's why I wrote the course to be healing toxic relationships, plural, and with the focus on you, meaning me, meaning us, meaning the person that is in the relationship, instead of instead of talking about it, someone else doing something against you. It's about you. It's always about you. It's not about them, right? Because if someone's always playing with matches, burning stuff down, starting little fires, and you putting it out, they're a pyromaniac, right? Now, you're not going to stop them from being a pyromaniac. That's where the ego comes in. Oh, well, I teach them about the danger of matches, and only you can prevent forest fires, right? Then, or you can prevent my apartment from being burned down. Then we think that means something. But if they always playing with matches in your house and lighting stuff up, and you always get there just in time to blow it out, but then at one point you don't. You keep letting them do this. You keep opening the door, letting them come in. If your house gets burned down, who burned it down? Yes, the police report might say they burned it down, but in reality, you burned your own house down, but you used them to do it. You follow me? It's because you thought that you was going to take a pyromaniac and make them into, I don't know, a water baby or something. I don't know. But you thought that you had some mystical, magical, sorcery powers of the seven enchanted forests or hood that you could just make them change their nature and be not a pyromaniac around you because you're so special. So when your house gets burned down or your fingers get burned, then you say, why did you burn me? In fact, the question is, that may happen once or twice, a few times, but if it keeps happening, the question is, why are you going to use this person to keep burning yourself? And that's how we bring it back in our own, bring the responsibility back to ourselves. And that's how we correct it, because then we'll stop trying to look for solutions by, well, I got to get my partner to do this so that they can realize that they're the one messing up my life. It's like, no, you're the one using them to mess up your own life, if that's what you want to call it. And this is why, we're all innocent. We all have done this. We all can relate. But we are not going to heal a toxic relationship by finding a new person or, trying to find, I'm studying NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. So when I look at them in their eyes and I mirror their body language and I say, listen, fire, squire, liar, dyer, you're getting sleepy. Don't light the fire, squire, liar, dyer. Then you think that you're going to work some hocus pocus and they're going to stop burning your stuff. No, that's not how it works. It's not how it works. Respect that they are showing you who they truly are. They are pyromaniac. That's what they're going to be. That's what they were before they met you. That's what they will be. If they decide to change, just let your ego be bruised a little bit by knowing this. Them deciding to change, even if it's something that benefits you, had nothing to do with you. Let me remind you, it has nothing to do with you, right? For example, somebody that, they keep taking your money. Like, oh, I'm gonna just, get them a job. And you get them a job and then they make more money. Like, see, now they're not stealing from me as much anymore. It's like, no, that's just because that's not because they're not still a thief. They just don't have the need to steal it right now. But if they did, they would still steal from you. Has nothing to do with you. And their stealing has nothing to do with you either, because it could have been you or somebody else. If they felt that they could get away with it, they will do it. So we don't feel special in one way. Oh, this person is targeting me, even though it appears that way, even though you may have suffered some, some type of attack from that situation. And don't think that if they have changed that behavior, that it's because of you either. This is a course that's 100% about the individual. And even though you can take it in groups and with, partners and et cetera, it's still each individual taking the course for themselves, having the loving correction for themselves and realizing that you're still innocent. I'm still innocent because we've all been there. We've all been abusive, and we all have abused others and ourselves and use others to abuse ourselves. And that's the main point that I want everybody to understand for this. And if y'all don't understand, I'm gonna get upset because I thought I said it clear enough. So you better leave a good review or else I'm mad. All right. So Shannon Joy says everything is very clear. I've always had issues enforcing boundaries, so I'm taking notes. Thank you, Shannon Joy.
I was going to just say one thing, and I've been getting more and more clarity on this for myself over the last few months, and that is that sometimes when we're not enforcing our boundaries, right, and people continue to cross them, that we also violate ourselves by then making excuses for why they're crossing them, right? And then we excuse it. And the more they continue, and of course, they're just going to continue, right? Not of course. And sometimes they just continue, to cross those boundaries. And then you say, oh, but they love me, or, oh, they just didn't have time to do that, or, oh, you just make all these excuses. And really, those are just continual attacks on yourself, right? And you're allowing them to violate you over and over again. And each time you come up with an excuse for their violation, you are attacking yourself. So that's something I've gotten like more clear in my head too. And like still working on it, but it's like, no, they are demonstrating how they don't respect you or they don't respect your space. So and you just make excuses, and, the person could be a great person and you just think, but clearly they must know this, right? And they're just not respecting you.
Thank you, Celia. That's a good point. Cuts the ability to excuse, overlook, tell a story, all of that. You're still being abused, right? Because it's like, okay, well, it's like someone says, hey, I see you got a black eye. What happened? Oh, then you tell a story. But my question is, when someone asks when you were a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? Was it someone that gets a black eye from their partner every so often? Or someone that gets let's take the partner out of it. Let's someone that just gets a black eye, like just gets beat up. No, that was never your goal. But the thing is, like, oh, but they're drinking and they were sober for a few months and they just had a heart, they lost somebody, and it's COVID and they lost their job, so they had to drink. And so they were upset and they lost it and they go into anger management. So at least the last time it was my left eye. So they asked me, which one, left or right? And I was like, oh, right. So they got the right one instead of the left one this time. So they would at least consider it, asking me about which one I wanted to have blackened up. And, blood vessels bursted underneath there, and with the mask mandate, I could get away with wearing some shades and stuff. It's not that bad, So we could say a lot, but it's subtle Stockholm syndrome is what came to me when you were talking, Celia, because yes, the Stockholm syndrome is when someone's directly abusing you and you're like still on their side, on their team, defending them against the authorities or anything. But you're defending them against your own authority to say, you know what? Wash your goddamn dishes. I'm not your maid, right? You're defending them against clean up your mess. Don't leave your mess in my space. You're defending them against stop leaving an empty tank in my car or our car, whatever it is. Like I'm the only one that's responsible for putting gas in it. You are abusing yourself. You're using their actions to abuse yourself and using those stories and excuses. That's still subtle. Even if it's subtle abuse, it's still Stockholm syndrome, whether it's subtle or direct, but it's still abusive. And I should have put subtle Stockholm syndrome storytelling scenario up in there because that's what it is. Thank you for mentioning that.
You're
Any,
welcome.
That's a good one.
yeah, because we think Stockholm syndrome have to do with somebody's robbing a bank and then you in there for a few days with them and then the police come in, you're like, no, they promised me 10% to get back. Just keep your distance. I don't want to go with you. Are you going to give me 10%? It's not, we look at it in extreme scenarios, but it could be something as easy as the dishes in the sink. If they eat all the food, they don't replace the food though, right? You buy the food, they eat the food, you live in the same place, but they don't replace the food. All of that, but you don't want to bring it up because, remember we said up here earlier, the principle, it wasn't that far. Hold on, I don't be knowing what nothing is in these books. It's right here, boom, found it. It may not always be emotionally comfortable to enforce your boundaries, but it's absolutely necessary. Then we go into why is that? Why? Because you may not always feel emotionally comfortable communicating and enforcing your boundaries with people, but discomfort aside is still necessary. Why? Because, as we were saying, it is unloving and abusive to yourself and your relationships to allow someone to continue to cross your boundaries unchecked. And let's look at it, even though we're not talking about children. Let's look at it how you know how child abuse and stuff. Like, because you're responsible for them, if the child is running around with a pair of scissors and stick it in the outlets, and you're like, they're just learning the world. They're just trying to explore their environment. That's just part of their upbringing. They're going to have to, make mistakes and fall down. And it's like, well, how come you just let them run across the street without looking? I mean, they're going to figure out eventually that the car is coming, and they're going to have to, make a decision. I know they just learned how to walk, but they're going to have to figure out if they can outrun a car or not. I mean, why should I tell them that this sign means walk, this one means don't walk, when they could easily just have that conversation with someone's bumper? I mean, one way or the other, right? Life's a harsh teacher. No, you're going to get arrested for child abuse because you are responsible. And by neglecting to enforce the boundaries of outlet covers in your house, of, the things on the staircase so the child can't fall down the stairs, all that sort of thing, they come and inspect your house and you're like, no, this is not suitable for an infant or toddler. And you're not going to be, we're going to take custody from you, because you are being negligent, and because you don't want to, but they're going to be so upset when I don't want to see them being so mad and crying. I don't want to take anything from them. If I take the scissors from them, then they're going to be mad and they might use them on me, right? It's like, let them cry, let them be upset, but it's for their own good. And the same thing for your relationship. Yeah, your partner, you might be upset, might be just totally uncomfortable to say, look, I don't feel comfortable allowing you to use my car if you're going to keep bringing it back with no gas. We talked about this. I mean, like, before you use my car again, give me $50, because that's how much I want to put in the tank. And when you bring it back to me, it got to be above the half a tank. That's all I'm saying. It may not be comfortable saying that to your friend, your whoever, but you're going to keep abusing yourself with the relationship, though. All right. That's the question. So that's why the shift in mindset is important, to realize it's not them, it's you. Because now let's say you had that final showdown. Look, $50 for the gas, or, I'm not giving you the key. And like, come on, let me get the, I gotta get to school. I'm gonna be late for work. Come on. You gotta be like, well, you're just gonna have to be late for work, because I doubt that your apology in your job, or you're constantly violating the boundary of you're supposed to be there at a certain time, is going to result in you going to keep getting full pay. So why you keep violating my personal boundary, or my boundary for our relationship with the car, should result in you having unlimited usage without taking responsibility for your part in using it, when you said that's what you would do, or when I told you already. And I told you, if you don't, I'm not going to give you the key. So here is me giving you directions to the bus or the train, right? Because you're not getting the key. So it's not comfortable, but it's necessary for yourself. And I also promise you that it's better to be respected than liked by people, right? Because people, oh yeah, I love that aunt or that friend because they always gonna give me money. I don't ever have to pay them back. I really like them. But the one that's gonna be like, I'll be waiting outside. You say you go to the ATM, I'm walking behind you on your heels to the ATM. And if you don't, these brass knuckles right here are not just jewelry. That, I mean, they could be, they're nice, but if not, you come out of that ATM without, then they might have another use. So it's better to be respected than somebody just liking you. And sometimes we just want to be liked and want everything to be smooth in a relationship, when we're the one making ourselves into a carpet, a rug for someone else's abuse. And again, they just may be this way. They may be constantly, I forgot that I owed you that money. Right, but you keep loaning them more money, thinking that they're going to pay you back. So who's abusing who? You know they're forgetful. You know they probably don't have the money, but you keep living on this dream and this idea that they're going to give it to you. That's psychologically abusive to yourself. So, yeah, that's you having respect in a relationship, respecting yourself. If someone knows that you're going to respect yourself, there's a higher probability that they'll respect you. But if you're going to just allow them to walk all over you, like, all right, well, I don't have to I don't have to do anything. And again, this course is not about getting someone to do anything differently. I'm just using this as an example that if you don't bring it up, they're not going to have the opportunity to respect you because you're going to. Oh, it says it right here on this page. Let me continue. It is unloving and abusive to yourself to allow someone to continue to cross your boundaries unchecked. Why? Because resentment will begin to fester and spread in your mind, and it will leak out into your relationship. And don't forget, resentment is a poison. And the more you keep it bottled up in you, the more it will contaminate other areas of your relationship. Then, one of two things will eventually happen when you hold on to resentment. One, either will bubble up to the surface in the form of an emotional explosion, like a blow up, a tantrum, or argument, or two, it will eat at you internally and cause an implosion, meaning emotional and nervous breakdown. Either way, it is extremely toxic for you and your relationship. Important note of principles of boundaries. Your relationship boundaries for other people do not create an obligation for them to comply or respect your boundaries. This is important. This is very important. That's why it says important. Right there's the first word. Your relationship boundaries for other people do not create an obligation for them to comply or respect your boundaries. Here's a question you might have. Everyone is free. Well, everyone's free, right? So people don't have to respect my boundaries if I make them, even if I make them very clear. In that case, if they don't want to respect it, what do I do? Well, here's what you don't do. You don't use that personal relationship to abuse and violate yourself. You may ask, well, how can I use a personal relationship to abuse and violate myself? Very easily. Let's say, for example, you have the following boundary in your home. Example boundary in the house. Please remove your shoes before entering the space. Boundary violation. Let's say one of your guests is well aware of this boundary and yet they still choose to keep their shoes on as they walk around your space. Will you continue HT? No, you know what? Don't strain your eyes. Enoch, let's go. You're up. What do I do? Loving correction, right? That's where we're at.
Correction. You stop them and ask them again to remove their shoes. What do? They still don't remove their shoes and they tell you they won't. So what do I do? Well, here's what you don't do. You don't stand idly by and let them walk through your space with their shoes on. You have that boundary in place for a reason, right? It was put in place as a way to respect and appreciate your space. Your space is an extension of you. So what are you doing by standing and by not enforcing that boundary? You're using that person to abuse and violate your space, thereby violate yourself. What message do you think you were sending them by your lack of action or enforcement? You were sending a very clear message that says the following.
You got to read this one in the crazy voice, though.
It's okay to violate and abuse my space. Although I have clear boundaries in place, I do not really mean what I say. My boundaries are like piles of sawdust, and all you have to do is blow on them and they will crumble. And I will concede to whatever it is you hand in mind for my space. So again, you ask, what will I do in this situation? You know what you have to do. You have to enforce your boundaries. It's your space, right? Bottom line for them. Enforce your boundary. Tell them to take their shoes off or leave, period. Now you ask, what if I'm in a situation where I don't have control over the space or environment? What do I do if someone violates my boundaries then? Well, that's a good question. Let's use another example. You don't choose to engage in arguments with anyone. Someone you're talking to gets annoyed and begins to escalate your conversation into an argument. You lovingly correct them and tell them your boundary around arguing. They continue to become more verbally What do I do? I can't control them. I can't make them shut up. I can't enforce them into having a calm conversation. They don't have the tone. They don't have to tone it down or stop trying to push me to argue with them. They're free to express themselves however they want, right? And that is very true. No, you cannot control them in any way. You cannot make them do what you want to do. You cannot make them say what you want to say. So what can you do? You may not be able to enforce your will on them. You can enforce that conversation encounter though. How? A conversation requires your participation.
Thank you, my brother.
Yes, sir.
I will. Oh, Michaela, are you still willing to read?
Sure.
Okay.
Solutions and enforcing your boundary. You can end the call if you're on the phone. You can choose to move away from them if you are speaking in person. You can stay put and remain absolutely silent, giving them and their tired tirade no energy and no attention whatsoever. Or you can use their blatant disregard of boundaries as a way to violate and disrespect yourself. Shrug. What's it gonna be? Does it make sense now? Does it make sense how you can use a relationship or person to abuse you by not enforcing your boundaries?
Quick
We hope-
question, everyone. Does it make sense now?
Yes, it does.
It does.
Yep.
Okay.
Definitely.
Just checking. Please continue, Michaela.
We hope so. That is a very important lesson to learn because once again, you are not a victim of any relationship or any other people. Remember, you are not a victim of anybody. You always have the power to change your mind and your circumstances. How? By taking full responsibility for every aspect of your experience. You're going to start taking responsibility by doing an activity that will bring this lesson home for you. Activity time, enforcing your boundaries. It's time to get out your pen. On the following pages are some clarity charts for you to fill in. What do these charts bring clarity to? That should be due there. These
All right,
clarity
thank
charts.
you.
These clarity charts will help you think about and articulate some solutions to the following question. How will you enforce your boundaries when anyone chooses not to respect them?
All right, just making a note of that typo real quick. What do these charts? Okay. All right, so I'll read this one with you, Michaela. So, for example, boundaries and enforcement. What are my specific boundaries? What do I do when they are violated? So, specific boundary behavior I won't tolerate is, let's say, someone reaches out to me only when they need something, like when they're in trouble and they need help or they need money from me. I don't hear from them at any other time.
Boundary enforcement. What will I do or say when my boundary is crossed? I will tell them my number is not 911 and I'm not your angel investor. If you're only going to contact me when you need something, don't bother contacting me at all.
All right. And then the rest of it is just blank clarity charts for you to fill in. So this is also part of homework, of course. So let's see, what are we talking about? Oh yeah, so finished. How did it go? Be sure to think about enforcing your boundaries often. And whenever you come up with more ways of enforcing them, return to this lesson and add to the templates. Let's shift gears now, refocus on self-correction and taking responsibility. In the next session, put a period there. In the next section, we're going to revisit a lesson you are familiar with and use it as a tool for self-empowerment. What lesson is that? 5 levels of creation. Get ready to learn how to use the 5 levels of creation as a tool to fortify you in any situation. Ready? Turn the page. So before we continue, feedback. Anybody want to share anything about this?
It's been very clear and concise and correct, and I don't disagree with anything. So yeah, very good one.
So with that said, can you state a specific boundary of yours, Enoch, and how you would enforce it. It could be anything, you know.
One of my boundaries for me is just, don't lie to me. Like explicitly and specifically, do not lie to me. And everything is okay. Meaning, if I hit you up about maybe, let's say, like if I hit you up about potential plans and you never respond to me, it's okay. If I hit you up about potential plans and you tell me, it's not a specific or certain deadline, it's okay. However, if I hit you up about plans that we have already established and then, let's say for about whatever chance you can't make it, if you don't communicate that specifically and explicitly, then I will feel disrespected on a certain level because I would still be prepared for you. And if you don't show up or if you don't come through for me, then I'll feel disrespected, on multiple levels because of the content that I put behind you not letting me know that type of information.
Thank you. And let's say that happens, that violation happens once, maybe multiple times. What do you do in moving forward? How do you enforce that this person will not respect that particular boundary? What will you do?
Well, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice,
Don't
shame
do the
on
George
you.
Bush. Okay, I'm about to say it. Don't do the George Bush and mess it up.
Well, I mean, it's all about communication for me. So it's like if I've already told you that specifically, and the line is already crossed, and this was your chance, this was your moment to prove yourself, and you came short, then I mean, I'm just gonna stand by my word.
Okay.
What else can I do? For you to be able to learn your lesson. I'm not gonna take the time out of my life schedule to try to teach it to you. I'm gonna just let you see by example, and I'm gonna just you're not gonna have that chance again.
Okay. Thank you for that. Anyone else want to give an example of this whole application of it, your boundary, and how you enforce it, how you would enforce it? Another question is, anyone in just in this hour and change we've been here thought about boundaries in a new way, or maybe discovered something that you didn't know was a boundary, but you want it to be a boundary now, or you are making it a boundary now moving forward? So anybody that want to answer any of those questions?
Well, I have one where I discovered in terms of me violating someone else's boundaries. And that would be the idea of, calling people on the phone and then not asking if they have space in order to talk, because then I would just start talking and acting like they were sitting over there waiting for me to call them.
That's funny.
So I'm more conscious of that now. Is that the holding space? What?
It's not, it's just a matter of convenience at that point, because holding space is more for something emotionally heavier. You're not calling up talking about how, you need a kidney and the kidney you had fell out and the stork picked it up and you tried to get the stork, but you fell off the roof. You didn't realize you was on the roof, so you need to get an operation and all that. You don't start just calling somebody and complaining. That's when you specifically ask for holding space. But what you're talking about is like time. Like, it's an interesting thing, but I would not say that if you're not someone who's just complaining all the time, since you're mostly inappropriately laughing, then I don't think from knowing you that you are that kind of person. But I would say that it's also on someone else's responsibility. Like if you pick up the phone for someone and you're in the middle of something, you can't act like they are interrupting you if you didn't have an appointment on the phone, because you could have just, let me think really hard. Hold on, busted a couple brain cells, not picked up the phone in the first place, right? Yeah. Putting responsibility back in the hand. It's your phone. You don't have to pick it up. And Another thing I think I have it in Love Is Not a Game. Yeah, I do have it in there. The thing around phones is like we play this game where it's like, okay, well, I called you, so phone tag, you're it. You got to call me back. It's easy to forget that somebody called. Easier to not even see that somebody called. It's easy to have your phone on do not disturb. It's easy to all of these things. So my thing is, if it's that important, somebody will call me back. If I'm busy, I'm just not going to pick up. And I kind of like to think that if someone's not, because I call people all the time just out of the blue, just because like I'll be thinking of them or I'll see their name or think of them and I'll just call and it doesn't, I'm not necessarily expecting them to pick up. But then if they don't have time or space, or let's say putting yourself on the side where someone's calling you and they're just talking, then you can say, I gotta go. That's not unreasonable, right? You just called me out of the blue. There's nothing that we really have set up here. You can just go. It's not a big deal. Because if your personal boundary around that is, all right, this conversation, mine is simply if I'm not enjoying the conversation anymore, I'm just not going to be a part of it, right? I'm just, okay, I got to go. And that's not violating anybody or anything. It's just, I got to force myself to stay here because you're talking and saying things. That's why that's why I write so many books. I have so much to say, but I don't want to say it to everybody hey, guess what, Michaela? Standards and boundaries, check it out. Hey, guess what, Celia? Standards and boundaries. Guess what, Salima? I just write it in the book, and then we get together and read it like this one time. And then you can read it anytime. And I still said it. We still read it, and we don't have to, and you can do it at your convenience, right? So it's not that deep. But I would say, HT, it couldn't hurt also to start a conversation, be like, hey, do you have a few minutes?
Yeah.
Right. And then then they would be like, yeah. And then that kind of clarifies the space moving forward and so and so. In terms of time, because now you're asking permission for time, not permission for, I got to tell you about the time that, again, the stork and the kidney and all of this other stuff that's very heavy. It may just be, I was thinking about you. I want to say hello. You have a few minutes to chat, chit chat. That's fine too. So, yeah.
Okay.
I want to add that this has also made me realize that I'm more uncomfortable with the potential of having to enforce my boundary and make someone else uncomfortable than I am with having my boundaries crossed, which is a problem. Wow. And I didn't realize that until just now. I'm like, wow, I'm so more preoccupied with making sure other people are comfortable than I am with ensuring that I'm actually comfortable.
Wow.
So yeah. I appreciate that.
You're like the person, yeah, you're not alone in that. And Shannon Joyce said here, yes, I've always felt the same way, catering to others instead of yourself. That's like you jump in trying to help somebody that's drowning, and then they holding you under the water, and you're like, but you're like, but I don't want, you're in your mind thinking, but I don't want them to drown though. And you're just, I could easily just cause them a little pain here, have them let go of me, swim off and be like, listen, I'm going to come behind you and pull you to safety, but don't hold my head down under the water. Well, meanwhile, you're down drowning because you don't want to inconvenience them. But what happens? They can't swim. You can. You're their only chance of surviving. I'm just using this as an example. What happens if you drown? They drown. Too. You both drown. So it's better that you be like, get up off me. Check it out. I see you. You're like, I'm down. All right. I know you're drowning and stuff, but check it out though. I'm gonna throw you this rope. Hold the rope. Do not get close. Do not come near me. Just hold the rope and keep your head above water. Okay. Okay. And then just throw them the rope. But don't go, oh, my friend, let me give you a hug. And then here you go, under the water again. It's not that, it's personally abusive. Like we would say I wouldn't do self-harm to myself. I wouldn't punch myself in the face. I wouldn't mug myself, right? But I'm gonna take this shortcut home through this alley where 100% of the time people get mugged. But because I know some of the muggers and they should be cool with me, I'm gonna just go through here, and then you find out, oh, hey, what's going on, D? Yeah. Oh, it's been a long time since. All right, run that wallet now. You know.
Ah.
But I thought, yeah, run, go. See you. Thank you. See you later, right? Because you thought that you were special, right? That so now what happened? You know, 100% of the people that go down this alley get mugged, but you're like, but I know them though. So you get mugged, but the question is, who mugged you though? Did they mug you, or did you use them to mug yourself? You follow me? I'm saying this in so many ways that I hope it's connected
Definitely.
to somebody.
Yes.
That's
So,
funny.
so D says we need to put on our life vest first. Exactly. They say it in the plane. Put your oxygen on before you help any crumb snatchers or anybody next to you. Put it on yourself first. Shannon Joy says, yep, 100%. And D says, LOL, I can't swim. That's funny. So, yeah. Any other questions and comments? We have like just one more page.
I was just going to make a quick comment or try to make it a quick comment. And that is sometimes when you do this in this one and in other books as well, is that if you just had a question and just the blank page, that people, we're so used to and sometimes conditioning ourselves to disrespect ourselves and to allow other people to disrespect us, that we can't even come up with the examples. So I think it's really helpful for you to have some of those examples on each page as you go through it, just to get people thinking, kind of guiding them, because we need that kind of guidance, because the default is for us to, the default is often, for us to disrespect ourselves, like what Dee was saying and Shannon Joy, right? That the default is to disrespect ourselves rather than actually bringing it to somebody's attention what our boundaries are. And so I think the examples are really helpful. And the other quick thing is that as I'm, reading through this too, I think it's actually a really important thing to do, like in Love Is Not a Game, when you're setting the goal and the purpose and everything for a relationship, to actually think about some of this too, right? And to work through some of this, because it is crucially important in terms of boundaries. And sometimes when we don't talk about it, we're more likely to choose to be more vulnerable to those boundaries being crossed.
Thank you, Celia. And were you speaking specifically about these blank pages here, the ones where it is, I don't put a grayed out example in?
No, I was saying, no. I was saying that the other ones that you include the examples, and that's great. I think it's fine to have some of these where there's nothing, right? I was just saying in terms of the ones that you have those examples, those are just really great. So that's what I was saying. I wasn't talking about the other ones, because you already do enough of it that then people can take it right to the next step. But if you hadn't done that, I think it's harder for people to do. It can be more challenging. So you already set it up. So I think it's fine.
Okay, thank you. Because I did make a point to, in most of these, throughout each sections, part 1, part 2, part 3, to bring examples and even recycle some of the old examples, or take up a specific example, like take off your shoes, and really draw it out so that you have as you said, a guide, an example of how to think through this for yourself. Because writing is thinking. If I'm asking you to write down what would you do in this situation, someone violated your boundary, you got to visualize, you got to think, you got to say, oh, my boundary is right, keep my space clean. And then, okay, you spilled something, clean it up, right? Take the trash out, whatever it may be. And you got to think through that. And like Dee was saying, even in thinking about telling somebody to clean this up, you may feel discomfort. And it's good that you're doing it now in this safe space, in this group where you're rehearsing it. And I would not even like the problem that we have that gives us the block is that we also rehearse the outcome where it's like, oh, the person's gonna be like, okay, yeah, sure, yeah. And we like, oh, but that might not happen. My advice would be, don't rehearse the outcome, rehearse the process of delivering the communication, right? The loving correction. I'm going to, no matter how I feel about this, tell this person when they overtalk me, excuse me, don't cut me off when I'm speaking. Allow me to finish speaking, right? And don't, because you might say, oh, they might get loud or whatever, but it is a milestone for you if you don't do this often to say that in a situation. So in your head, you're like, okay, what am I going to say? And really rehearse it, have the specific words. I would appreciate if you allow me to finish my thought before you interrupt me or before you give me your thought, right? Allow me to finish speaking. You can put the specific words and rehearse saying that. And then when the time comes and they cut you off, they, excuse me, I would appreciate if you allow me to finish without interruption. And even if they continue interrupting you, now you know, enforcement. I'm not going to stand for myself to be continuously interrupted. Next position or next stage, okay, I'm not going to continue having this conversation with you anymore. I'm going to go now. And then you go, right? Rehearsing that. Because what we do is we get into arguments and stuff because we get reactive. And as an aside, you can hear it from me because it's supposed to be love 101 and stuff. But on a petty note, though, if you want to argue with somebody, well, don't ever give them the chance to say anything. This is how you do it. Like, I don't know why people are like, no, you're wrong and I'm right. It's like, you're wrong and I'm right. Like, why did you stop talking? You'd be like, listen, you're wrong, I'm right. Your mother's wrong, your father's wrong, your sister's wrong, your brother's wrong, your friend's wrong. Even the people you forgot about are wrong. Even the people who taught you that you were right are wrong. Every book you read is wrong. Everything you saw is wrong. Everything you think is wrong. Every music you listen to is wrong. Every tree you walk by is wrong. Every step you take is wrong. Until they just submit and be like, God damn, you know, I can't do it with you anymore. But that's very petty. You didn't hear it from me. Delete that or don't. It's okay either way. I'm innocent. Let's continue with it.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
Now, see, the thing about that again, Na'Im, I just got my neighbor just relayed a story where she had to correct someone in her house the other day. And I guess the woman, she got upset and, you know, I guess she got her feelings hurt. So that my neighbor, she gonna call her and apologize.
Apologize about what? About
Having to correct her in her house. You know, whatever it was she did, she had to apologize for something that she did in her house. So then after that, a couple of days later, she's gonna call her and apologize to her because she hurt her feelings. Oh, I think I hurt her feelings.
Oh boy. And this is a perfect parlay into this lesson 14. So if you could read it, HT, because this answers that whole misperception that your neighbor had, because that's like taking 2 steps forward and 3 back.
Yeah.
It's like, stop dirtying up my space. And then the person like, but I only left it there, the mess there for a week. I don't know why you mad. There's only a little bit of mold and black mold and stuff growing. Not like it's everywhere. It's only in 3 corners of the room. And it's like, you gonna come back and say, I'm sorry that I tried to correct you for keeping the household in safety and not endangering our lungs from the black mold. No, I'm not sorry. Don't be sorry for loving yourself and respecting yourself in your space. That's the way to correct it. I'm respecting myself in my space by correcting you. So I'm not sorry for loving and respecting myself. I'm not, you know, and you can just get out if that's a problem. And if you have feelings about it, good, have feelings about it, because maybe the more hurt you feel, the less you violate my stuff. That's okay. That's okay to feel upset. It's okay, because as we're about to read, you are responsible for that. Nobody's responsible for your feelings. And that's an important lesson. And I need to create a course just on that, because all of this apology, this pal stuff, promise, apologize, lie, and stories, and feeling bad about about how somebody else made themselves feel. We need a very deep dive, a very surgical investigation into this idea that you have made someone else feel this way. And it's absolutely not true. And just because they made themselves feel this way and now they did something to hurt themselves, oh, well, I just, I felt that I violated you, so I'm gonna go ahead and move out. I don't have any place to stay. Like, nobody told you to move out. I just said, what to correct, etc. Right? So that's very important. But anyway.
Yeah, the name of that book should be "I'm sorry, but I ain't sorry."
Or it could be called, I'm sorry, did I apologize? No, I'm not sorry. Like, the only thing I'm sorry about is apologizing, because I'm not sorry. But yes, and Celia says, and be okay either way with the outcomes. That was back with visualizing yourself delivering this communication about your boundary to someone, whatever the outcome, be okay either way with it, because it's not about a specific outcome. It's about the experience of enforcing your boundary. Because either way it goes with them, you will feel more powerful. You will be more powerful, because you will be at least hearing yourself say, do not disrespect me. Like, just like you want a hero to stand up for you against somebody that's doing someone wrong, a criminal or whatnot. Like, you, sir, put that back where you found it. That doesn't belong to you. It's like, oh, thank you, hero person, for standing up for me. But you see somebody walking out with your stuff, you hold your finger up, you're like, wait, and then they just walk away. In the finger, and they just, right? You could just say in your strongest voice, put that shit back. And they may still be like, ha ha ha, I'm gonna take this anyway. And you'd be like, well, at least I said, like, at least I did, like, I'm not willing to run you down. I'm not willing to fight you over it, but I will say something about it. But not saying something about it, you're gonna be up all night like, I could have said something. Then you feel like you disrespected yourself, right? So, yeah.
So this is lesson number 14, taking full responsibility. Self-empowerment. The key to healthy relationships is simple. What is the key to healthy relationships? Take full responsibility for every level of your experience. Number 1, you're responsible for your thoughts. Number 2, you're responsible for your feelings. Number 3, you're responsible for your energy or intentions. Number 4, you are responsible for your words. And number 5, you are responsible for your actions. The 5 levels of creation. We're going to show you how to use that lesson as a self-empowerment mantra to take full responsibility for all 5 levels of your experience. Use the following chart as a 5-step mantra to help you remember the truth about yourself as a powerful creator and to empower yourself in any situation.
Thank you. And will you read this self-empowerment mantra, Celia?
Yes. So self-empowerment mantra based on the 5 levels of creation. How to take responsibility for every level of your life and relationship experience. 5 levels. 1, mental thought. I have the power of decision. I can change my mind and my thoughts at any time. I can choose to think with love over fear. Number 2, emotional, feelings. I have the power to change how I feel. I am not my feelings and they do not control me. They flow through me. I observe them and I release them. Number 3, energetic intent. I have the power to change my focus. I will not project my fearful energy or intentions onto anyone. Number 4, verbal self-talk, talk. I have the power to speak love or fear to myself. I have the power to speak appreciation to others or be silent. And number 5, physical actions, deeds. I have the power to control my body. No thought, feeling, intention, or word can make me do anything I'm not willing to do. Amen.
There we go.
Review often. Should I continue or?
Yeah, yes, to the bottom of this page, please.
Now that you're empowered and fortified in the truth about yourself, let's extend that power into your communication and relationships with others. We are going to equip you with more tools than you need to heal any toxic relationship and open the doors to an oasis of healthy, loving relationships. The following lessons are a crash course in healthy communication 101. Are you ready to experience closeness and connection on a whole new level? If so, please proceed.
And we will not be proceeding right now. We'll be stopping, but thank you for reading that, Celia.
No problem.
And that's, yes, 5 levels of creation, self-empowerment mantra. Does it make sense? Do you see the order of the mantra? It's not just random. It's very specific, very clearly laid out based on the 5 levels of creation.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's a great mantra. I was thinking, people often have affirmations, and, I put stuff together and all that. And this is a wonderful way to begin the day and then continue all through the day. So it's a great way to set the intention for the day and for your life. So.
Yes, thank you. And I understand we are over time. Shannon Joy says this is, I don't think I read this part. Celia said regarding HT example, instead of affirming that loving correction, she's now opened the door for future boundary crossing and granted permission for the crossings to continue. And yes, with the whole, don't do that. Oh, I'm sorry, I told you not to do that thing. Yeah. And so this is as advertised the end of the course because it's supposed to be 3 days, but I have learned that this course needs 4 days for this part to be included. And if you would all like to include it and we would like to do this bonus session together, then if we could pick another day, I was thinking tomorrow at 5 p.m., that's when I would be available to do it. Then I'll be available to go through the rest of this. It's only page, 69 to, damn, when you look at it like that, it looks like a lot. 69 to 83, okay, which is 14 pages, even though I look crazy just now. We can do that tomorrow if anyone's willing. Anyone here available or would like to do that?
I could do it.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yep, ditto.
Yes, also.
All right, so we're gonna set the date for the end of this session, meaning the last part about communication to be done tomorrow, Monday, the 28th at 5 p.m. So we can continue that within an hour. You allow for 90 minutes, but it'll probably be done in an hour. And before we go, because I know we're also over time, is there anything anyone wants to share or ask as far as what we've gone through today? And yeah, just opening the door for that. Shannon Joy said, pull my stuff up. There it is. Okay, available. I want to incorporate the mantras into my yoga classes. And Dee says, I'm excited to incorporate this into my everyday. Thank you. And yes, Shannon. So thank you, everyone. Jamila?
I just want to say thank you. I'm driving, but I'm listening, and then I will be there tomorrow at 2. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And I'll end the recording here and say thank you all for participating in this session, and we'll finish up with day 4 next time.